Welcome to ASTRO NEET.
Gonna take you there myself, fly you to the moon! So you guys are cyberpunks, aren't you?
David, turn around! Come back!
Fast is what you do best, ain't it?
No matter how high you rise, you will never escape our shadow!
It's the only way I could protect you from this damn city. Just too many I couldn't save before. Couldn't let that happen. Not to you two.
Nova, huh?
Awesome!
Isn't it?
In just 10 episodes, Cyberpunk Edgerunners was able to cement itself as a meaningful and distinguished anime, combining the dark, thrilling feature of Cyberpunk 2077 and the intense, trailblazing animation from Studio Trigger. This gave us the vibrant, bloody, and adrenaline-pumping story of Edgerunners that came out last year, at the time of this video, in 2022 as one of the best animes Netflix had to offer. 1 year later, I'm surprised that such a compact and short show was able to stay beloved among many, or maybe I shouldn't be so surprised as it did win 2023's Anime of the Year, and for good reason. The show popped up, said,
Look at me.
and blew up in your face. Then before you can realize it, it's already gone. The reason I think that Edgerunners was able to reserve a spot in my mind for so long was because it wasn't afraid of tragedy, and the stakes of the story remained riveting because the consequences were lasting. And you know, it felt more real. If Edgerunners had a more fairy tale-like happy ending, even though I would be comforted in that, I don't think that it would have the same longevity as it does now. And that's aside from all the other things that made this show such a modern classic. It was badass, it had Trigger's renowned animation, lovable characters, it was immersive, and it was kind of hot. It was kind of hot. So in the first part of the show, I didn't really have an idea of what Cyberpunk's world was like really, outside of a little bit of gameplay and some trailers of the game. The first episode makes it clear that this is a harsh reality and seemingly one that ours is inching towards. The show makes us familiar with... Oh yeah, I'm going to talk about spoilers. Sorry. The show makes us familiar with how it's going to do things from the get-go. David is unfortunately among the lower ladder of this cold and heartless society that only benefit those that can pay for its outrageous milking of money. David faces hardships in a world where your loved ones are dispensed out of a vending machine if you can't pay for actual health coverage. He was stuck with one that did not allow visitation of all things for his mom that had been fatally injured earlier. In the show, after his mom dies, David takes things into his own hands and tries to wield his fate however he can after meeting the Edgerunners, and seemingly finds a hole in a world where he can fit. The characters in the show were so freaking awesome, especially since they only had 10 episodes to make you care about them. Hell, you care about David's mom in the one episode that she was in. They all had this chemistry that made them so lovable and genuinely felt like a family. Maine was so sick. Dope sunglasses, badass chrome, and he looked unstoppable. When he was introduced, he seemed smooth, confident, and reliable. David instantly looked up to him, and I did too. Maine took care of everyone, was powerful, and he was always pushing himself. We all saw that he couldn't stop pushing himself though. After his death, beyond the facade of an unfazed, unbeatable leader, we saw that this world wasn't easy on him either, and he was just as vulnerable as anyone else, passing the baton to David, who he believed could run faster and further than he did. Rebecca was an amazing supporting character. She was loud and crazy in the way that she was designed and the way that she acts. She also had an air of invincibility just like Maine. To me, she sported a very tough love type of personality, so you can tell that she cared about the people around her, but she never really admitted it. Saying things like she should have been the one to kill her brother, but I think that she was just sad that he died, and did not want to say it. Lucy's character was kind of mysterious and standoffish in the beginning, but we've come to find out that she's just tired of this world, run down from it, wanting to go to the moon because it was so far away from everything else. The one thing that she loved was David, and she pulled no stops when it came to protecting him. David was somewhat confused on what his purpose was supposed to be. Initially, he didn't really have a dream, so he kind of stuck with the dreams of others, like going to school and being successful for his mom, or taking Lucy to the moon, or leading the crew for Maine. But in the end, we see that he just wanted to be strong enough to protect his loved ones. Just like Maine, he kept pushing himself too far, believing now that he was special, and because of that, he could get as strong as he needs to. Finally having the strength that made him on par with the harsh reality around him, but it wasn't enough. We see his world crumble as it overpowered and overwhelmed him. The inevitability of tragedy in a world like Cyberpunk is uncaring, unwavering, and cutthroat to those unlucky enough to be at the bottom of its society. Being made by Studio Trigger, I almost added Edgerunners to my video about balls to the wall anime, which is about animes that don't need a strong storyline to be great, which you can watch right here or later. But that's not really true. I think Edgerunners did have a pretty solid and strong storyline for the amount of time that it ran for, and nobody really had a happy ending. These characters who we've come to love are no exception to the cruelties in Night City, and that's part of why the story felt so tangible. It didn't really give anyone plot armor. They faced situations that could have actually killed them. It felt like the characters were just coincidentally the main characters, like they rolled random characters to be focused on, but had the world rain its punches on them like it does anyone else. Because of that, I was more inclined to be invested in the consequences of actions from the characters. It had its highs and equal lows. Maybe lows that went a little further than the highs, but still. I think that Edgerunners displays its tragic events as a medal. The actual turmoil that we can feel from the characters and the bittersweet ending. Because of that, it's become a definite unforgettable show. I think that's one of the main factors as to why this show still sticks around a year later. I've seen it twice already, and it did hit kind of harder the second time, but I rarely rewatch anything, much less twice within a year of each other. Cyberpunk Edgerunners was an instant modern classic. I say it's because it introduced to us so many cool characters and wasn't afraid to be somewhat more realistic in the way that the story unraveled tragically, perfectly encapsulating the bleak and callous future from Cyberpunk 2077 within a neat 10-episode package. I do wish they had a little more time to further build upon these characters and explore the world of the game, but maybe it's perfect the way that it is. It's a fleeting, heart-pumping experience like a crazy night out, and I will for sure rewatch it again. Edgerunners is about the inequalities that plague societies where the top are few and wealthy, having it very good in contrast to the vast amount of people below them. But on the surface of that, Edgerunners is about these colorful characters who laugh and cry in a vibrant, imperfect future regardless of their unfortunate place in the pecking order. And that's it. Check out my other stuff. Bye.
I'll see you in the same place next time on ASTRO NEET.
I couldn't wait for you to come and clear the covers. I can feel the sun. But now you're going to leave with nothing but a sign. Another evening I'll be sitting reading in between your eyes, because I miss you all the time.